Hello, good afternoon, or good evening, good evening. This is Jason Scalzi. I'm here with my good friend, Dr. Paul Barreca.
Oh,
We
don't
are,
don't do the doctor thing. Nobody does that.
well, oh, let's just wait a few minutes as some people are joining us on. We are so sorry that we are 15 minutes late. With technical things, sometimes you have technical difficulties. I had everything set up on my desktop to show the website and show your video of what you're doing with Fellowship International Ministries, right?
Yep.
And so you'll have to go to that website, which is www.fim.org, and you'll be able to see on the front page Paul's what he's doing with the ministry, and I'll let him share in just a few minutes exactly what that is. Let's see here if anybody is joining us. Anyways, quarter to 8, I was all set up, and we had a huge power surge here in South Jersey. There must have been an accident. All the power went off, and my friend had a generator in the back of his car. So he fired the generator up and trying to get everything running here. But unfortunately, the videos and stuff that I had aren't on there, but we will get that. Why don't you just greet everybody? I know you just came back from Africa. Share a little bit about your time in Africa and what you did.
Hey, so thanks, Jason. Just returned about 8 days ago from a 3-week ministry in Africa. I had the privilege of working at Fellowship International Mission, and one of the things that we do is care for 136 missionaries that are serving in 33 countries around the world. And as the director, I get to go visit them and kind of encourage them and take part in their ministry and come back and report to their support partners and their churches and their donors what God is doing in those places. So, Jason, I got to tell you that the thing about Africa, these Christians in these, at least in these two countries, and I've heard it's true in other countries. I've been to about 3 or 4 different countries in Africa in the past couple of years. The Christians in Africa, they really think that they're going to win the world for Jesus.
Wow.
And they're doing it. And I was talking to some believers in Senegal, and none of these people have Bible college degrees. They just got saved, and they're sharing their faith, and they're talking about how they're going to all these different cities in West Africa, all these different countries in West Africa, and all the Senegalese people that are living in Europe, and all the people from Ivory Coast that are living in Germany, and how are we going to reach them? I mean, it is like, I was in that room and I felt, wow, this is what it felt like for Peter and Paul, in the first century. It's just unbelievable. And God is doing it. Jason, the U.S. still sends more missionaries than any other country. Number 2 is South Korea. Number 3 is Kenya.
Wow.
And Nigeria. And so these countries in Africa and places that once were receiving missionaries, they're now sending missionaries, and it's the most awesome thing in the world.
That's so amazing. And to see, I was following you and seeing the passion of the worship of the services that you're in. And you're talking about Africa, and I had just seen where Reinhard Bunke, who spent his whole ministry career in Africa and had over millions and millions of people come to his evangelical outreaches, and hundreds of thousands of people come to faith. And I seen where the Assemblies of God just recognized his wife and their family for a lifetime of ministry. And I was thinking today how awesome God is, how he brings people of like mind. You that come from a Baptist background, myself comes from a Assembly of God background, and our heart and passion is to reach the lost for Jesus Christ. And it's such an honor to be friends with you, and now to partner with you with our upcoming Israel Hike Tour.
Yeah, that's right, Jason. So I think this started a long time ago. We've known each other for a long time through ministry in Vineland, and you were such an encouragement to our church and to the efforts that a whole bunch of churches were making in Vineland to reach kids, to help the homeless, to share the gospel. And we were involved in just so many of those works together. And the Lord kind of knit our hearts together many, many years ago. But a few years ago, we were on a wilderness trip together in Canada. And you love outdoors, and I love outdoors.
Yeah.
And so in the back of my mind years ago was this idea, boy, I love the outdoors, and I love visiting Israel. I've done a number of trips. We've had a number of tours to Israel, probably had about 150 people on 4 different tours that I've led in Israel, but probably more than that, I think. And so I thought, boy, wouldn't it be cool to hike through Israel? So we were in En-Gedi. En-Gedi is the park. It's now a park. It was the place where David hid from Saul in all of those places in the books of 1 Samuel and in Psalms. And we're in En-Gedi, and there's these hiking trails through En-Gedi. And I was there with my son-in-law, Adam, and I said, oh, we need to come back here, and we need to hike these trails. Well, guess what? We're going to En-Gedi, and we're going to do something, Jason. I don't know if you've looked into it. It's called the Jesus Trail.
You know, I heard about it, and you know, I've been watching the Chosen series, and I don't know if you've seen that. And you know, obviously, it wasn't recorded in Israel, but to see Jesus walking with the disciples and the conversations that he's having with the disciples, you know, how awesome that must have been. You know, Jesus walking from Nazareth to Capernaum and Cana, and just having that fellowship with his disciples.
So a few years ago, this group of hiking enthusiasts in Israel, and you know, the Israelis are real outdoorsy people. They live in a 12-month climate where you can be outdoors all the, you know, it's a Mediterranean climate, and they developed this trail from Nazareth to Capernaum. So our trip is going to start in Nazareth. We're going to fly into Israel, and our first visit is going to be to the Nazareth village, and that's like a first-century recreation, kind of a Williamsburg kind of thing, but the life and times of Jesus. And I think you've been there, and I've been there. Really been there a number of times. So we're going to start in the Nazareth village, and then we're going to start hiking this 65-kilometer trail through the Judean countryside. Yeah. And there's some hills, maybe mountains. Not really mountains, more you know, tall hills or small mountains. And we're going to hike those. And so you're going to be going through these places that Jesus literally walked with his disciples. And I mean, just think about doing that. It's just really amazing.
Yeah, it's so exciting. I know that the Lord had put this on your heart, and to see, you know, the website of the Jesus Trail, and there's so many people do that. So this is not your typical Israel tour. I know you've been there, I think 3 times. I've been there twice. So it's a little different than your average tour, you know, that goes to Jerusalem and to all the sites there in Jerusalem. But it's a tour that I believe that number one, you need to be in somewhat physical shape. Obviously, we'll be walking 10 to 12 miles a day. We won't be carrying a backpack, a heavy backpack. We'll be staying in hostels and some kibbutz, I believe. But you know, we wanted to keep the prices as low as possible so that we could attract many people, because I believe that this trip is going to be more of an intimate, as we're walking, having fellowship one with another, teaching at different spots where Jesus had stopped and taught with his disciples, and going through the Gospels, and then spending some time up there in the northern Galilee area, going to Capernaum and Tel Dan and some of these areas up there as well in the north.
That's right. And just to let people know, while we're talking, the website for this is real easy. It's israelhike.com. And if you go to israelhike.com, you will be able to download, not only that, you'll be able to see our day-by-day schedule and the dates. And just to let everybody know, as we're online here, the dates are April. Let's see. I'm sorry, March 24 to April 2 of 2022. Yep. March 24 to April 2nd, 2022. Now, so we're going to start on the Jesus Trail. We're going to start in Nazareth Village and then hike the Jesus Trail. But here's the cool thing about this. I know when you think about a hiking trip, you're thinking about carrying a tent and setting up a tent every night and backpacking and cooking over a fire. We're not doing that. Would be great, and I love doing those kinds of trips. Jason, you and I have done those trips. They're awesome, but they're also hard because you have to carry 30 pounds or more on your back while you're hiking. So what we're going to do is we're going to have one location each for when we're on the Jesus hike, we're going to come back to Cana. Some people say Cana of Galilee. There's a place called the Cana Guest House.
Yeah.
And it's in Galilee. It's along the Jesus Trail, but we're going to come back to that every night. So your suitcase or your backpack, however you want to travel, will be kept there. And we've got all the price that you're paying includes your breakfast and your dinner every night, and all of this logistics and transportation. Jason, it would be so hard to put this together.
Yeah.
You would be taking Ubers or taxis or whatever, and it would cost a fortune to do what we're doing for right around $3,000 a person.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome to have a all-inclusive trip paid, and the price, I believe we locked it in at $3,180, $3,180, which includes airfare, breakfast, and dinners. Lunch is on our own, but we always go to a pretty reasonable places for lunch, and we'll be doing a lot of walking, especially up in the north, and I can't wait. We haven't even got down to Engedi and to Masada yet. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a second, but for that price, especially in a post-COVID world, it's the best price that we could have gotten, and it's going to be not only a great opportunity to say that we walked the footsteps of Jesus. We walked to the top of the Snake Trail at Masada, where there's such a historical aspect of that, and we'll learn all about that. And then also in the Engedi, where David hid from Saul. I mean, I can't wait for that.
So there's 24. I don't even know what to talk about first, Jason. It's also awesome. There's 24 kilometers of hiking trails in Engedi.
Wow.
There's 7 waterfalls, and that place is really special because as you read through the life of David in 1 Samuel, you read through the Psalms. This is where he hid from King Saul. This is where he wrote so many powerful Psalms that are part of our liturgy and worship. And so we're going to do that as well. And we're going to spend a whole day hiking in Engedi. So here's kind of the rundown. And again, go to israelhike.com.
Yep.
You can look at the day-by-day schedule. But it's basically the first 4 days are the Jesus Trail. The 5th day, we're going to take a short rafting trip. It's not really whitewater rafting. It's really more like a float down the Jordan River. But how cool is that to be floating on the Jordan River from Mount Hermon, coming down into the land of Israel, where the water flows from Mount Hermon into the land of Israel. We're gonna do some hiking in the area of the northern Israel, the Golan Heights, which now thankfully belong to Israel. Yeah. We rejoice over that. It's their land, and they are using that very productively. There's farms, there's orchards. It's amazing what they've done there. And then we're going to make our way down south to Engedi, to the Qumran Caves, and we're going to end our trip, like you said, with a early morning hike up Masada, the snake path that it has existed there for over 2,000 years. And we're going to go from 1,000 feet below sea level to 1,000 feet above sea level. A beautiful view of the Dead Sea and of looking into the land of Israel, kind of like Moses on Mount Nebo. We're going to be able to look right into the land of Israel and see that amazing mountaintop fortress. Yeah. And then, of course, the story of the Jewish zealots that persevered there so long against the Roman Empire. Yeah. So just it's just incredible. Like I say, this will be my 5th trip to Israel. But the idea of a hiking trip is so unique. And if you're fit, and I would say that you got to be, you don't need to be a triathlon athlete, but you've got to be able to walk 10 miles a day. Yeah. And if that like freaks you out or you don't think you can do it, well, try to get in shape because that's what we're doing. And, we certainly want to be able to stay together as a group and have a great time without injury.
Yeah. I thank you for sharing that, and I look forward to the physical challenge. I know Damaris and I just came back from an awesome time in Alaska. We did some hiking up there, and I said, "Oh man, I got to get into shape." So I'm looking forward to doing some hiking and some cardiovascular exercise to get in shape for this.
That's right.
I've been to Israel twice, and each time we took the cable car to the top of Masada, and I was watching the people walking the trail up.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that's pretty
Yeah.
strenuous, but I know that we can do it, and I know that you could do it. You're a great outdoors, and we had a wonderful time, like you said. I know you've led like 20 tours or so up to Algonquin National Park.
Yeah, that's been something we've done for years, and it's
Yeah.
kind of one of my favorite places on earth. But
Yeah.
but I tell you what, Israel is just another place. Jason, this is a great tour. If you've never been to Israel, this is a great tour.
Yeah.
If you've been to Israel, this adds a dimension that you just don't get on a tour, because on those tours, and you've done them and I've done them, you're in a rush because you got so much to do. You're on the bus, you're off the bus, you've got this beautiful place to visit. But I always say this to our group when we leave the bus. This is a very, wherever we are, Mount of Beatitudes or Bethsaida or the Qumran Caves, this is a very important place. We want you to have a life-changing experience. Be back on the bus in 5 minutes.
Right.
How do you have a life-changing experience in 5 minutes? Yeah. But this hiking tour, that's the whole nature. We're going slow.
Yeah.
We're going slow. We're going to reflect. We're going to be walking, sharing. Jason, I think you and I, we're going to be talking Bible verses as we're walking down these trails. That's what we do in Canada anyway, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of the story of the on the road to Emmaus. When after Jesus ascended, arose from the grave, and the two disciples were walking back, and it said that they were speaking, and their spirits were leaping within them. And so having that time to just walk and just contemplate and meditate on the scriptures, meditate on where we're at, and seeing with our eyes, the Sea of Galilee, and being able to put them all together. It's a life-changing experience. And so israelhike.com, we just put the link there today where you can go to the israelhike.com and you can click on the register, and it'll bring you right to Pilgrim Tours site to where you can register today. There's some more information that you can look at there, the itinerary, and also an online registration form to where you can register today if you'd like. And our emails, do you want to give them your email?
Sure. My email is real simple, paul@FIM, that stands for Fellowship International Mission, FIM.org, paul@FIM.org.
You could also send me an inbox. I'm not sure if people are commenting on here. Unfortunately, this is the first time that I've done this on my phone since we had the power outage today. I'm not seeing any comments. I'm not sure. Are you seeing any comments on the right-hand side?
No, I'm not, but we're going to post this, and so people, I think, are going to be watching the video.
Yeah.
Let me just say one thing about registration. Our registrations close, and it's in the brochure. I think it's sometime around the end of August. Can I encourage you, because this is a hike, we can't take a big group of people.
Yeah.
In other words, we don't want to be hiking with 40 or 50 people because it's just too many. You're not going to be able to hear and talk. So this is going to be a very limited size group, somewhere between 25 and 30, but it definitely will not be more than 30.
Yeah.
So, Jason, you and I think this is going to be very, very, very much in high demand.
Yeah.
And I would encourage you, if you've got the dates, you've got the funds, and you're going, don't wait to register, because I personally think this will fill up long before August.
Agreed. Some of you may be asking, I know that a couple times where I've gone to Israel, some of the people were concerned, especially with everything that's going on right now. The past couple of months with Hamas firing rockets off into Israel. Some of you may be concerned and say, it's a little dangerous there. You are safer in Israel than you are on the streets of Chicago. Isn't that the truth?
That's absolutely right. Hey, listen, it's God's people, God's place, God's land. And God's not done with Israel. And listen, every time I've been in Israel during times of war.
Yeah.
One with war that was going on with the intruders from Syria, and one with the Palestinian uprising. We were in one time where we heard bombs going off in Syria, way off in the distance. But I've never felt safer. Israel takes security very seriously,
right,
and they really do an amazing job. So. And just one other thing, we will have an Israeli tour guide with us the entire time. So this is not Paul and Jason leading you off into some, for unknown land or whatever. We have a professional Israeli tour guide.
Yeah.
This is run by a tour agency that we are utilizing called Pilgrim Tours. They've done hundreds, probably thousands of tours to Israel. This is a completely professional operation. And so your price there, $31.80 with airfare, includes all of that, everything but your lunch every day. And as far as like your backpack, you're going to carry probably 1 liter to 1.5 liters of water.
Yep.
And you're going to carry your lunch. And pretty much that's it. So that makes that 10 miles much more attainable. And some days it might be 10 miles, some days might be a little less. But those heavier days that are 10 miles, even in the heat, because in March and April it's starting to get hot in particularly southern Israel. But you're not carrying a backpack. We think this will be a great opportunity for you.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I can't wait to be in Israel with you. It's been a few years since we've seen each other in person. But it's exciting to know that we're going to be in Israel together, and we know this is going to be a great life-changing trip, not only for us but for those who join us. So we encourage you today to, if you've been wanting to go to Israel, check out israelhike.com. Send us an email, send us a message, and we'll definitely be back in the next couple weeks or so, talking about some updates and some more information about this trip.
Thanks, Jason. God bless you, brother.
God bless you. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.